Have you ever wondered what wisdom truly is, and why discernment matters so much in our lives? Welcome, dear listeners, to a journey of understanding, an exploration of two paramount traits, wisdom and discernment. These words might seem simple, but their meanings run deep, shaping our decisions, our relationships, and our perspective of the world. Wisdom, a virtue revered across cultures and time, is more than just knowledge. It's the judicious application of knowledge, the ability to distinguish right from wrong, good from bad. On the other hand, discernment is that inner compass guiding us when the path isn't clear, helping us make informed decisions. In this video, we'll explore these concepts in depth, drawing from ancient biblical teachings like Proverbs 3, 5, 6, and connecting them with our everyday experiences. From understanding their biblical roots to applying them in real-life situations, we'll uncover the true essence of wisdom and discernment. Join us on this enlightening journey as we delve into the biblical understanding of wisdom and discernment. Wisdom, as described in the Bible, is much more than mere knowledge or intelligence. It's a profound understanding that goes beyond just knowing facts. It's an understanding that permeates one's very being, shaping their actions, decisions, and overall view of life. In the biblical context, wisdom is often portrayed as a virtue that encompasses moral character, righteousness, and fear of God. It's not about knowing what's right, but about choosing to do what's right. It's about living a life that is pleasing to God, consistent with His teachings and commandments. Consider Proverbs 1, 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. This verse clearly highlights the close relationship between wisdom and the fear of the Lord. Here, the fear of the Lord doesn't mean being afraid of God, but rather having a deep sense of awe and reverence for His greatness and His authority over our lives. Biblical wisdom also involves discernment, the ability to judge well. It's about making decisions that are not only good but also godly. It's about discerning what is truly valuable and meaningful in life, and choosing that over what is fleeting and superficial. In the Bible, wisdom is personified in the book of Proverbs as a woman who calls out to people in the streets, offering them guidance and understanding. This personification underscores the accessible and practical nature of wisdom. It's not a lofty ideal that's out of reach, but a practical guide for everyday living. Wisdom, in the biblical sense, is also closely tied to humility. It involves acknowledging that we don't have all the answers, and that we need God's guidance to navigate through life. As Proverbs 11:2 says, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom." As we can see, biblical wisdom is intimately connected to ethical living and reverence for God. It's about living a life that reflects God's values, making decisions that honor Him, and walking in humility, acknowledging our need for His guidance. Discernment, on the other hand, is the ability to judge well. In the biblical sense, discernment is more than just making sound judgments. It's about understanding the difference between truth and falsehood, right and wrong. It's about making decisions that align with God's will and His divine plan. Consider the words of Hebrews 5:14, which says, "But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil." This passage underscores the concept of discernment as a skill that can be cultivated and honed through constant use and practice. In other words, discernment isn't something that just happens. It requires effort, attention, and a heart that's attuned to the voice of God. It's the ability to see beyond surface appearances, to penetrate the superficial and recognize the underlying spiritual realities. But why is discernment so important? Well, in a world where truth and falsehood are often blurred, where right and wrong are frequently confused, discernment becomes our compass, guiding us through the moral and ethical mazes of life. It helps us to navigate tricky situations, to make choices that honor God and benefit our fellow human beings. Discernment is also key to understanding and interpreting the scriptures. It enables us to grasp the deeper meanings of biblical texts, to see the connections between different passages and to apply their teachings to our daily lives. Moreover, discernment is crucial for our spiritual growth. It's what allows us to recognize God's presence in our lives, to discern His voice amid the noise and clamor of the world. It's what enables us to follow His guidance, to align our lives with His will, and to grow in wisdom and understanding. In the end, discernment is about more than just making good decisions. It's about living a life that's rooted in truth, a life that reflects God's love and righteousness. It's about being a light in a world that's often shrouded in darkness. Discernment, therefore, is a crucial skill for making wise decisions and leading a righteous life. The book of Proverbs is a treasure trove of wisdom and discernment. This book, part of the Bible's wisdom literature, is brimming with practical insights and timeless truths. It's a guidebook for living a life marked by wisdom and discernment. As we dive into its chapters, we encounter proverbs that speak directly to these themes. Let's consider Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Here, wisdom is depicted as a trusting surrender to God, a letting go of our limited understanding and a full commitment to his guidance. It's a wisdom that acknowledges our limitations and recognizes the infinite wisdom of God. This kind of wisdom isn't a simple accumulation of knowledge or facts. It's an active, dynamic process of aligning our thoughts, decisions, and actions with God's perspective. It's a wisdom that shapes our lives, directing us towards paths of righteousness and peace. Discernment, too, is a recurring theme in the book of Proverbs. It's the ability to distinguish right from wrong, beneficial from harmful, truth from falsehood. It's a skill that's honed through a deep, intimate relationship with God and a careful study of his word. Take for instance Proverbs 14:8, which says, "The wisdom of the prudent is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceiving." This verse contrasts the discerning individual who carefully considers his path with the fool who blindly stumbles along, deceived by his lack of discernment. Or consider Proverbs 2, 3, 5. "Yes, if you call out for insight and raise your voice for understanding, if you seek it like silver and search for it as for hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God." Here, discernment is portrayed as a treasure to be sought after, a precious commodity more valuable than silver or gold. These proverbs underscore the importance of discernment in navigating life's complexities. They urge us to actively seek discernment, to call out for it, to search for it as we would for hidden treasures. Because with discernment, we're equipped to make sound decisions, to choose paths that lead to life and prosperity, to avoid pitfalls and snares. These proverbs teach us that wisdom and discernment are not only desirable but essential for a fulfilled life. They're not optional extras or nice-to-haves. They're fundamental to living a life that's aligned with God's will, a life that's marked by peace, joy, and fulfillment. So let's seek wisdom and discernment with all our hearts, for in them we find the keys to a life well lived. But how do wisdom and discernment apply in our daily lives? Imagine you're standing at a crossroads in your life, unsure of which path to take. Perhaps it's a career decision, or a personal dilemma. Wisdom, like a trusty compass, guides you through these moments. It draws from your accumulated knowledge, experiences, and understanding, helping you make informed decisions that align with your values and goals. Take for instance the biblical story of King Solomon. He was offered anything he wanted and he chose wisdom. This decision led to his prosperous reign, marked by peace and prosperity. It wasn't just about being smart or knowledgeable, it was about understanding life, people, and situations in a profound way. This biblical story isn't so different from our modern lives. We might not be kings, but every day we're faced with decisions, big and small, and wisdom guides us through. Now, discernment is the close companion of wisdom. It's like the lens that helps you see clearly, even when things are foggy or complicated. Discernment allows you to distinguish between what's beneficial and what's harmful, between what's genuine and what's false. Consider a friendship or a relationship. Discernment helps you identify if it's healthy or toxic. It helps you recognize when someone is sincere or when they're trying to manipulate. It's discernment that can help you decide whether to invest more time and energy into a relationship or to step back. Let's look at the biblical story of Daniel. He was someone who exemplified discernment. Despite being in a foreign land, under a foreign king, he was able to discern what was right and stay true to his faith. He didn't just go with the flow or succumb to pressure. He made careful, considered decisions based on his understanding of what was right. This is discernment in action, and it's something we can apply in our own lives, whether it's in our work, our relationships, or our personal choices. Wisdom and discernment are also powerful tools when dealing with challenges. Life is full of ups and downs, and sometimes we find ourselves in difficult situations. Wisdom helps us understand these situations, learn from them, and grow. Discernment, on the other hand, helps us navigate through them, making choices that are not just easy or convenient, but truly right and beneficial. Think of the story of David and Goliath. David, a young shepherd, faced a giant warrior. But with wisdom, he understood that it wasn't just about physical strength, and with discernment, He chose a different approach, using a sling and a stone instead of traditional weapons. He faced the challenge in his own way, and he triumphed. So, wisdom and discernment aren't just philosophical concepts, they're practical tools for daily living. Now that we understand the importance of wisdom and discernment, how can we acquire them? A question that ripples through the ages, echoing in the hearts of those who yearn for a more profound understanding and a clearer path. The key lies within prayer, meditation, and the diligent study of the Bible. These are the tools, the spiritual disciplines, if you will, that help to unlock the door to wisdom and discernment. Prayer is our direct line to the divine. It's the intimate conversation where we express our desires, our fears, our joys, and yes, our quest for wisdom and discernment. In the book of James chapter 1 verse 5 we're told, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." It's a divine promise, a divine guarantee. By seeking wisdom through prayer, we're tapping into a source that's infinitely knowledgeable and infinitely wise. Meditation, on the other hand, is the act of listening, of quieting our minds to hear the still small voice within us. It's in this silence, this solitude, that we can discern the whisper of wisdom. Often the answers we seek are already within us, waiting to be discovered in the calm of meditative reflection. The Bible serves as our roadmap, brimming with wisdom and discernment. The book of Proverbs, for instance, is a treasure trove of wisdom, offering practical advice for everyday life. It's through the study of these sacred texts that we can gain a deeper understanding of wisdom and discernment, and apply them in our lives. So we see that prayer, meditation, and biblical study are not separate entities, but rather, they are interconnected facets of our journey toward wisdom and discernment. They are our compass, guiding us towards a life of wisdom, a life of discernment, a life lived in alignment with the divine will. By seeking God and immersing ourselves in His Word, we can grow in wisdom and discernment. This is our journey, this is our quest, and the beauty of it all is that the journey itself is the reward. In conclusion, wisdom and discernment are invaluable qualities that we should strive to cultivate. Let's take a moment to reflect on our journey together through this rich topic. We began by exploring the biblical concepts of wisdom and discernment. Wisdom, as we've seen, is not just about knowledge but about applying that knowledge in a godly way. It's the ability to see things from God's perspective and to make decisions that honor Him. Discernment, on the other hand, is the capacity to distinguish between right and wrong, truth and falsehood, and to make decisions that align with God's will. We delved into the book of Proverbs, a treasure trove of wisdom, where we discovered that, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." This verse beautifully encapsulates the essence of wisdom and discernment. We've also seen how wisdom and discernment play out in real life. They guide our decisions, influence our relationships, and shape our character. In an increasingly complex and confusing world, these qualities are more important than ever. They provide a moral compass, helping us navigate life's challenges with grace and integrity. Lastly, we discussed how to seek wisdom and discernment. We learned that they are gifts from God, available to all who ask. Through prayer, meditation on the scriptures, and living in obedience to God's word, we can grow in wisdom and discernment. The pursuit of wisdom and discernment is a lifelong journey, one that requires patience, humility, and a heart open to God's teaching. Remember, they are not just about making better decisions, but about becoming better people. They are about aligning our lives more closely with God's will and living in a way that brings glory to Him. May we all strive to grow in wisdom and discernment, guided by the timeless truths of the Bible.